And guys, Elon Musk is making it exciting to the end.
Oh my God, it's pretty wild, right? We know the feud that he's had certainly with Sam Altman over OpenAI, but looking to see if whether or not, he could ultimately, with a group, this is our most read story on the Bloomberg in the past hour, making a $97.4 billion bid for control of OpenAI. This is a Wall Street Journal story, but man, it makes it interesting.
I do wonder, what does this mean about a company like xAI? This is his OpenAI competitor, xAI. What does it say about xAI if he wants OpenAI as well?
That he just wants more?
Yeah, as Alex reminded us, xAI is smaller than OpenAI too.
If xAI were better, would he still want OpenAI?
Maybe. I mean, the other question here is OpenAI even for sale, or does that not matter?
I asked that
a
question rhetorically earlier, too.
I don't think it matters. Because
but to be fair, isn't everything for sale but for the right price? And that's what any CEO is probably going to tell you.
Either, but
we don't know. Maybe the right price. I'm just saying. I guess it just also raises the question, too, on the funding for it. Do you guys see that? Like a list of investment firms that would be engaged with this.
Not to mention banks that, have made back a lot of their money on the debt that they took on when Elon Musk bought Twitter.
How does Microsoft feel about the investment, too, right? That they made in the company. I don't know. There's a lot of moving parts.
There's a lot of moving parts.
A lot of unanswerable questions.
Exactly. Yeah. All right, there is the closing bell on this Monday. The S&P is ending up by about 0.7%, almost retracing all those losses, guys, from that DeepSeek Monday, almost by about 5 points. The NASDAQ outperforming up by a full 1 percentage point. The Dow Jones, guys, up by about 0.4%, but the Russell participating as well. But this is still a tech-led rally.
Yeah, it certainly is. I'm going to go, though, to the S&P 500, kind of almost an even split. 287 names, Scarlet, to the upside, 214 to the downside.
All right, let's take a look at the IMAP, and you'll see a lot of green on that screen there. There are two groups that did decline. Financials, which, of course, have done very well this year, seen as beneficiaries of tariffs, of deregulation, of light touch regulatory regime as well. They're down 0.8%. The other slice of red is healthcare, marginally lower. But your best performers are energy, up by 2.2%. Tech gaining 1.5%, reducing some of their losses for this year, and utilities also up by more than 1%.
Man, a lot of green on that screen and that IMAP. Let's get to some of the individual gainers. You mentioned big tech and meta platforms. I won't start there. Well, I am going to start there because it plays off of what you just said, Scarlett. But it was up about 0.4%. I bring it up because 16 days of gains, outpacing the longest winning streak by Tesla. We also did see it hit a record in today's session. Stocks up some 17% in those 16 days. So it's just been on quite a tear, quite a run in terms of Meta. So forgive me, I'm going out of order. Let me go back to Cleveland Cliffs.
There you go.
Let me bring it up. Obviously, the mining space, big outperformance in today's session coming off of tariffs. Steel and aluminum stocks surging on the president's plan to impose 25% tariffs on foreign imports in the sector. I just pulled out one, Cleveland Cliffs, which finished just off its highs of the session, but still almost an 18% gain. Nucor, Alcoa, U.S. Steel, all of them. The thinking is that these tariffs would make it harder for overseas companies to ultimately sell their lower priced steel or aluminum here in the United States. So supporting some of those domestic producers, but it's pretty tough. Maybe some of this could happen on the steel side. Aluminum, though, the U.S. imports almost all of its aluminum. So it's a little tricky. But anyway, we did see some movement there. BP, I know you guys were, I think, talking about it on air, finishing the day with a gain of about 6.7%, surging the most since 2020. One of the most aggressive activist investors, Elliott Investment Management, building a stake in the company, looking to end years of underperformance by pushing for some significant change. So that was quite a mover. And then going back to Meta, not a huge movement, but it's still up 16 days in a row, as I mentioned, up about 17%. So just kind of interesting to see the trend, the upward trend, big time in that one.
Okay, you got the ones that are moving higher, Carol. I got the ones that are moving lower. Looking at shares of Tesla, down for a fourth day in a row, 3% today. Shares down more than 26% from those highs back in December, though still up by about 45% since the election. Last week's Tesla week was the worst week for Tesla since October. It was weighed down with bad sales from around the world. Germany, France, UK, China, and then also some bad news from California. as well. On U.S., on Semiconductor Corp, down 8.2% today. The company gave adjusted earnings per share for the first quarter. The guidance came in much weaker than expected. It wasn't just adjusted EPS, though. It also missed on revenue, adjusted gross margin, and operating expenses. We saw price targets cut at Jefferies and KeyBank in the wake of that report. And finally, shares of Hain Celestial down 10.6% today. It's the company behind Earth's Best, Terra, Garden of Eden. The shares tumbling to the lowest level since 1997. Adjusted earnings per share coming out for the second quarter that missed the average analyst estimate. They cut their guidance for profits and organic sales. They're exploring strategic options for its personal care category. The CEO, Wendy Davidson, said, quote, sales growth in the quarter was hindered by poor in-store performance in snacks, driven by marketing, promotion effectiveness, and supply chain challenges. And they've already taken steps to address those challenges.
All right, the bond market, guys, a little mixed here. We saw some buying across the whole curve, really, but then we got a little distinguished as we went down over the last couple hours. A little bit of selling in the long end, buying in the front end. But the real story, over the next 3 days, we get $125 billion worth of supply. Tomorrow is $58 billion worth of 3 years. So always interested to watch what that takedown is and who's buying and how much they're willing to pay for it.
All right. Good stuff. That's a wrap of the markets on this Monday. Our cross-platform on radio, TV, YouTube, Bloomberg Originals. We call it the closing bell. Guys, we'll see you again. Same time, same place tomorrow.